best part of owning a beautiful boat like this is escaping at anchor for a night.
We're going to give you some tips to make sure you can spend that night away safe and sound in the knowledge that you're not going anywhere.
Welcome back to the Rudder. My name's Brooke and this is Damien, and we are on board our Mary Fisher 895 Antoinette, and we are en route to our anchorage for the night.
So it's a dream of most boaters when you start off, spending a night away at anchor on the hook is, magic. It's what boating is all about. But it can lead to a little bit of troubles, and we've come off the anchor a couple of times.
We've certainly faced our fair share of troubles, but we won't go into that in this video.
So this video is about how you can just set yourself up to anchor overnight, nice and sound. This is not about actually anchoring. We've done a few videos about that. This is all the things before and after you actually lay the anchor, so you can have peace of mind while you're away. So to start off with is equipment. If you're getting set for your first night away, you really need to be sure that your equipment, your anchor, your rode, all the swivels, everything that you need is secure, is in good nick, it's checked over, none of the bolts and the swivels have come a bit loose, all those sorts of things. So have a good check over all your gear, make sure you're happy with the rope, and your windlass, if you're using a windlass, is in good order. So having your gear ready to go is a really, it's actually the first thing you need to do. And also, even if you're going to anchor all the time, it's one of those things you kind of regularly need to check, is that your anchor is nice and secure on its road. Oh, we've got a few boats coming through.
One of the most important things to do is, even before you set sail, is check the conditions. So check the tides, check the weather, check the wind, and obviously choose a spot where the wind is not going to be too predominant while at anchor at night. There's nothing more uncomfortable than being thrown around at anchor because it's too windy. So check the conditions, check to make sure there's no storms, but also we like to tuck in in pockets out of the wind for the evening. It's just a lot more peaceful and a lot less stressful.
And if it is your first time at anchor and you're getting ready to do everything, I would suggest going to an anchorage like we're heading to now, which is Tipler's, just off the Gold Coast. It's a very common spot, but it is a common spot because it is a good anchorage. It's out of the southerly wind, which is what we've got tonight. It's got a good bottom, it's a nice sandy bottom, so your anchor's going to work. So if it's your first time on the hook, pick a place where there's, tried and tested, lots of people have been there. Check your winds. Tipler's in a northern wind is horrible, so you would not want to be there. So have a look at all the factors before you set sail.
You also want to check the tides as well.
And the last one was the tide. So we're very lucky in Australia and around here. We've got a tidal swing. We've got a full moon at the moment. It's one of our biggest tides of the year, but really it's moving about 2 meters, which is a lot for us, but for all those people in the UK and other parts of the world, you'll be laughing at that. So, but it means you need to calculate how much rode and chain you're going to put out as you float between the tides. And if you can, if it's your first time away, I strongly suggest this, is come out in the morning and get your anchor all set, get on the hook, and then you can ride the tide as you swing around and make sure you're all safe and sound before the sun goes down, and you can feel yourself moving and how the boat's going to react as that tide swings around, and ensure you've got enough chain out. We're getting close to Tipler's. There's a few boats out today. It's a lovely day, so everyone's enjoying the water.
By the way, if you're interested to find out more about Tipler's, check out this video that we've done on all the surrounds and what to expect if you're staying overnight there. But yeah, this video is purely about what the top tips for making sure you're prepared overnight.
Alright, so we're almost there. We're going to get all ready. As I said, we're not going to go through the anchoring process. There's heaps of videos on that. We can have a look at some of ours, and we'll catch you when we're on the hook.
A few moments later.
We're safely at anchor here at Tipler's. If you're a bit nervous about anchoring, one tip I would give is also to keep in relatively shallow water. So we're in a 2.3 meters here, going down to a meter. We've got 15 meters out, so absolutely plenty. And here at Tipler's, it's a sandy mud mix, so it's going to hold super well. Also, while we're up here, just to let you know, that direction over there is south. We're going to have southerlies all day. Apparently there's 10 knots of southerly blowing at the second, but as you can see here, is beautiful and calm. So getting your situation right where you're going to anchor is critical. It's awesome around the islands of the Gold Coast because there's always little places you can get out of the wind. Before we leave the bow, just do one last check of your anchor locker. We've got the snubber on, claws there, you're happy with everything, you're safe and sound, you've got your anchor down, and let's go do some of the other jobs. At the helm is something that I've done since we started anchoring, and that's put on a circle. So a boundary, we can put it on here, and if you float outside that boundary at any time during your time at anchor, the whole thing sets off alarms and wakes everyone up, really, doesn't it?
Well, when it wakes me up, do a bit of a nudge and he has to go deal with it.
So I like putting the boundary on. Even if you float outside it and the alarm goes off at night, you can come up, check everything's fine, check where you are. Before we put the circle boundary on, just have a look at where we are. So that's facing south. We're in 2.2 meters of water. I don't know how we're going 0.2 of a knot, but anyway. And there we are there. And you can see we're sort of in this little inlet. So you click on this Garmin info, user data, boundaries, and we're going to have a new boundary as a circle. Zoom in again, and it should be over the top of you. Try and move it to where you think the anchor was dropped, somewhere over there. Set the center, and then you draw out your boundary. Now this will depend on how much anchor chain you put out. I'm going to put 11 meters, set the radius. So there's our boundary. We have one last step to do, which is set the alarm on. There's the alarm, you can hear it, haunts me at night. And we want it for exiting. Remember, because when we exit that circle, we want the alarm to go off. And there we have it, there's our little circle, and I'll show you in a few hours. We'll just be floating around, hopefully inside that circle the whole time. So there's our circle all set. Fingers crossed it doesn't go off, but as I mentioned, being here early, we get to see the swing. So we're going to swing around to the other side of our anchor most likely, through the low tide. We'll get to see that later this afternoon, and we can adjust the circle as required.
So definitely gives you that peace of mind that you're after, especially when you're asleep at night. Having that circle boundary, you just know that if you're going to float off,
something's going to wake you up.
Exactly.
If you don't have a big Garmin like this, you can set it on your phone or other devices. I can actually do mine on my watch as well. If you are doing it on your phone, just maybe connect it to a power battery or something, a power bank, because it does suck the battery life. Talking of batteries, that's the next step. I'll take it for granted that your battery setup is all good for staying overnight. I'd really suggest having a starter battery and an accessories battery, which is what we've got here. So these are my two starter batteries. I want to just make sure that we're always ready to start. So I turn those off. So absolutely no power is being used from my starter battery. This is my accessories, it's turned on, and we can use that. We also run a battery monitor, so I can keep an eye on how much battery we're using. We've got the solar power to top it up a little bit, but certainly we want to keep an eye on everything. If for some reason we did run out of our accessories battery, we can always start the boat, and that's really the most important thing. And yeah, Molly thinks that's important as well. One last thing, if it's not really close to night time yet, you are at anchor, you are required to put your all-round white on. If you're in a smaller boat, you might need to put the pole out or do whatever you need to do, but you make sure you're going to be running that all night, so remember to put your all-round white on. We're getting towards the fun stuff now. Let's get the toys out.
As Amy said, we're getting to the fun stuff now. We're going to throw the tender in the water and put the stand-up paddleboard in the water, and then set up this day bed for some lounging for the rest of the day.
We always get our tender out first thing because it kind of ruins the view on the back. So we get it and throw it overboard. Make sure you've always got it tied on. Just getting rid of all our tie downs. And try not to go in the water while you're doing it. Tender's all loose and ready to go. Just going to get my rope sorted out before you throw it over. Also, this tender rack was a great investment. I know many people have asked questions about it, but There we go. That's not my tie on. I just do that whilst we're getting organised. But you can just see how light this is. Come on, oh, there you go. And away we go. Tenders out. I do a knot first and then I clip it on secondly. I'm sure some keen-eyed observers will see that there's no engine on our tender. We use an electric outboard, the Thrust Me Kicker. It's super light, 4.5 kilos. So we just take it on and off as we need it. So we don't leave it on the boat overnight. We don't leave it on there when it's just floating around like this. We can put it on and off. It doesn't take any time at all. Of course, if you were getting set when we had the old ice outboard, I'd put it on there now, so it'd be floating around. So if we did want to go anywhere, it was all set to go. All right, let's get the sup in the water and just release the stand-up paddleboard. This is the rope that we keep attached to it at all times. So I just loop it around here, lock it on. At night, I do put the sup into the tender so we don't have two things floating out the back. But during the day, just so you can go for a ride whenever you need, and launching it. Super easy.
For those of you who are fellow Merry Fisher 895 owners, or in fact any of the Merry Fisher range, you'll understand the versatility of this boat. So you can see it's currently set up as a dinette, but we're going to drop this down to a day bed so we can do some lounging for the rest of the day. So out of the way, Pippa. We actually switched out the original table because this one's a lot lighter, this teak table. So we just pull it off and grab a pole. We actually just store it underneath, and then super quick and easy, popping the pole in, and then we've got the bracing. And that stays nice and secure. And then lastly, the cushions. So there we have it. Super quick, super easy. We are set up, we've dropped anchor. It's a beautiful afternoon. We're nice and protected from the wind, and it's time to start relaxing. So there you have it. That was quick and easy, and we've probably been at anchor for about 20 minutes and we are safe and sound. Rest assured, we've ticked a few important aspects. I hope you liked that video and it gave you some quick, easy tips. If we forgot anything, let us know in the comments box below. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Rudder.